The Nintendo Switch is hands down one of the most versatile consoles ever created. Its ability to seamlessly swap between being a handheld system and a home console you plug up to your TV is such a great idea, especially with its unique Joy-Con controllers. As I'm sure you already know, you can use these together as one controller, or you can use them individually, and with a ton of really interesting tech, such as an IR sensor, HD rumble, and more, it really does seem to lend itself to being just as versatile as the system is designed for. And to me, there's no better showcase for just how many ways these things can be used than with Nintendo Labo. Hello everybody, my name is TheOneSword, and today we're going to be taking a look at Nintendo Labo. Now Labo was always an experience that I was always interested in, but I never wanted to put quite that big of an investment into. But recently I was able to pick this up for way lower than MSRP, so I thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. On January 17th, 2018, Nintendo uploaded a trailer announcing their next new project, Nintendo Labo. It showed off numerous pieces of cardboard being used to build things like a piano, fishing rod, a man dying, and a ton more. But where the real magic of Labo lied was when you put the Joy-Cons and Switch inside these cardboard creations, and all of a sudden... Hold the phone! These cardboard cutouts became more than cardboard cutouts, they became unique controllers themselves. I remember my initial thoughts for this being that I loved the idea. I thought it showed off the use of the Joy-Cons and Switch in a way we've never seen before. It was announced to be $70. It was also announced to be releasing April 20th. Two different kits were announced, a variety kit and a robot kit, with them costing $70 and $60 respectively. And upon release, both were met with generally positive reception, with praise given to its unique ideas, but criticized for its hefty price tag. Fast forward to July that year, Nintendo announced another kit, the Vehicle Kit, retailing for $70 just like the Variety Kit. It was released on September 14th, 2018, and this one was praised even higher than its predecessors, with praise given to its much higher quality games bundled in with its cardboard stencils. Lastly, there was a VR kit, announced March 6, 2019, releasing April 12th that same year for $80. This one was definitely interesting. Taking a relatively underpowered system like the Switch and using it for VR seemed like an impossible feat at the time, but as critics and fans alike seem to agree, Nintendo pulled it off surprisingly well. And yet, one complaint remained true throughout all of the Labo kits. It was way too expensive. I eventually ended up getting the Variety Kit for around $20 because there's no way I'm spending $70 on that. So, let's see what you get with your expensive cardboard. Well, opening it right up, you get some cardboard to protect your cardboard, that's always nice. So you get the Variety Kit software itself, sporting a black spine this time, unlike the rest of the Switch's library's red spines. And let me tell you, as someone who likes to display all my games on a shelf, this will always and forever bother the hell out of me. Digging beneath the layers, you find the real bones of Labo, as countless sheets of perforated cardboard. And despite how easy it is to accidentally punch out some of these pieces, the actual cardboard itself is surprisingly sturdy. Now, will I trust it to hold its own under a copy of Senran Kagura? No, but it's definitely made of much higher quality material than I expected. Before we get into playing any of these things, first we have to actually make them. All it takes is a nice bam, boom, splat, and bam, we're done. The creation process is really simply laid out. The on-screen instructions do an excellent job of showing where to fold, what pieces to use, and use insanely detailed models for what's being used. You can easily fast forward, rewind, rotate the camera around for a better angle. It's a really solid program. Weirdly enough, some of the cardboard is easier to fold than others, and there were times when I felt like I was doing something wrong because of how hard it was to fold some of these. Also, something to look out for is that these pieces are, legitimately sharp. I ended up cutting my finger more than once when constructing these. It's also legitimately cool seeing everything you build come together in the end to make one final big product. It's similar to finally piecing together all the parts of some big Lego set. So how do all these actually function? Well, let's take a look at the first Joy-Con included, the RC car. You just pop the Joy-Cons in the sides, put this useless cardboard stick on top of the Switch, and... yeah, it doesn't really work on carpet. Wait, guys, never mind, so that's what this thing is for. This one's definitely the least interesting out of all of them. It moves really slow, it's really loud due to using the Joy-Con's HD rumble to move it, never really controlled properly for me. So now let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the Labo. Everything else. First up is the fishing rod. Put the Joy-Cons in like so, the system in like so, and just like that you're on your way to ruining an ecosystem. The rod itself telescopes outwards, and it has this little string that's meant to simulate the one that appears on the screen. It actually tracks surprisingly well, and the rod itself feels sturdy and nice to reel in. As for the game itself, you cast your line, catch a fish, reel it up, rinse and repeat 2 more times, that's it. Not a whole lot to this game. Afterwards you can view all the fish you caught in the aquarium, but there's no leaderboards, no minigames, nothing that really makes you want to come back after playing it 2 or 3 times. Next up is the motorbike. Just put the Joy-Cons in, ram it into your crotch, and you're all set. Now you'd think with all the fancy tech in the Joy-Cons, this one will work fantastically, it doesn't. Controls just never felt right to me. You can't just twist and turn the part that twists and turns to move left and right. No, you have to twist the entire thing on its side. It's just weird. It makes it super uncomfortable after 2 seconds because it's hard to focus on this screen that you're moving all over the place. You can race, you can collect balloons. That's about it. Sure, there's a bit more content to go through, a couple different tracks to race on with the option of making your own too via the Joy-Con's motion controls. Once you're done with it, you're done with it. There's not even any real challenge. The AI is laughably easy even on the highest settings. Let's move on to the house. Now, right off the bat, if this is a house, how am I supposed to get inside? Come on, Nintendo, you made everything else size accurate. You can't make the house size accurate? Just popping the Joy-Con in, you're brought to this cute little thing to interact with. You can feed it, play games with it, abuse it, drown it, turn it into a source of energy. The blood's on my hands now. So yeah, you can pop in these little knobs into the sides of the house, and depending on the combination, you can even do little mini games. None of them are super deep in terms of gameplay, and again, say it with me now, once you do everything, there's no reason to go back and do it again. And lastly, we have the piano, and this one took ages to build. There's so many little pieces and stickers they have to put together, and even when it's all said and done, it doesn't look anywhere near as neat as the pictures may lead you to believe, specifically with the keyboard itself. But once you put the Joy-Con switch in, it actually works surprisingly well. You can use these different knobs to change the sounds it makes, you can change the pitch, you can play Megalovania. It works much better than you'd ever think. Just by looking at it, I always thought the keys would be extremely flimsy and not fun to use at all, and while they are extremely lightweight, it's very obvious it's made out of cardboard, they actually hold up remarkably well. Unfortunately, with this one, a lot of your enjoyment will really depend on how much you like messing around on a piano. If you're not interested at all in playing music, chances are you're not going to find a whole lot to enjoy from this one. It's replayable, sure, in the same way that a real piano is replayable. You wouldn't play one song on a real piano and be like, well, that was fun, never doing that again. But it's very dependent on the player and what they can get out of it. And really, that's where I stand with Labo. Its value is very much dependent on what each individual person can get out of it. Now, for me, a guy who likes building Legos and such, for the $20 price tag I picked this up for, I can say I got my money's worth. The amount of time spent actually building the Toy-Cons was well worth the money to me. But for others who are looking at this thing as a game first and foremost rather than a building set, I really can't see the value in it. A lot of the games are laughably basic to the point where I think even a kid would get bored of it within a few minutes. There's also the garage aspect of Labo, where you can sort of create your own little Labo games. Now, with me not really being the most creative person out there, the best I could do is shooting Labo Man. And I think people that are really into this sort of thing can get their money's worth from Labo. But again, it's very dependent on the player, and for me, a solid half of Labo just doesn't work how I'd like it to. So with that, Nintendo's first venture into the Labo experience comes to a close. And all I can say is, people really paid $70 for this.